It's been over 25 years since The Legend of Dragoon hit the PlayStation 1, and critics at the time called it average. But here's the thing, this so-called average JRPG managed to stand shoulder to shoulder with the biggest names of its era, when JRPGs were arguably delivering the best experience possible. It's no small feat to be remembered alongside giants like Final Fantasy, Valkyrie Profile, Star Ocean, Suikoden, and more. Which is why it deserves a full-scale remake, to show just how good this game can actually be with proper improvements. Back then, the JRPG landscape was fierce. Every game had a unique identity that made them memorable. Valkyrie Profile had the dungeon crawling and 4-button combat system. Parasite Eve was a mix of action and turn-based combat. And The Legend of Dragoon was no different. It utilized an interactive combo system called Additions with their turn-based combat. It wasn't just a Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest clone. Instead of the usual pick a command and wait formula, Additions required precise timings for every strike. I couldn't just zone out during battles anymore. It was simple, but incredibly engaging. Every so often, enemies would also throw in a curveball by counterattacking, which required a different button press to avoid. Suddenly, I was paying attention to every swing and trying to improve over time. It made even random battles feel fun. That said, missing a combo always felt rough. There was no real way to practice outside of battle, which meant I could only improve by actually doing it. While the recent re-release lets me rewind and retry, an official practice mode would have gone a long way. Additions wasn't just a combo system though. Selecting which one to use was just as important as the combo itself, because there were trade-offs. New additions often started out weaker and had to be leveled up before the damage would catch up. Consistency also had to be accounted for. While stronger additions had more power, they were longer, increasing the chance of me messing up as well as giving enemies more opportunities to counterattack. And last, but certainly not least, I had to decide whether I wanted more damage up front or gain more SP from attacks to transform into Dragoons. That said, the choice wasn't very difficult because I knew the kind of playstyle I had, but I did appreciate that there's technically no correct choice. Dragoons also added to the fun of combat. This form had better stats and powerful magic, but it involved some risk. Items and guard were no longer an option, both of which were critical for surviving tougher fights. If a character was near death, being in dragon form meant potentially dying since there was no way to heal through if it was their turn unless they had a healing spell, whereas if they were in base form, they could just defend or use an item to fully heal. These kind of compromises are why I liked the game. Every decision in battle felt like it had weight. There wasn't just one optimal strategy. I could experiment and find setups that worked for me. It gave the combat more depth than what most people probably realized. But at the end of the day, it's a PS1 game and it shows. High encounter rates, a lot of backtracking, long load times, and clunky menus. Worst of all is the unskippable, overly long animations that completely kill the pacing. It's ironic that a game with such interactive combat also forces me to sit through enemy attacks with nothing to do. The gaming landscape has changed a lot in 20 years. These were things I just accepted back then, but stuff like this makes the game harder to play, especially as someone who has limited time to waste on games. It's instances like these that hold the game back and prevent it from reaching the heights it deserves, which is why I dream of a remake. All of the quality of life improvements they could add, like fast travel, new content like training grounds, improved load times, more responsive menus and combat, or even a skip function, would elevate everything so much. A graphical overhaul would be equally as important. I could picture how good this game would look with the graphics of today. Imagine how awesome the Dragoon transformations would be. It doesn't even have to go crazy and look like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Hitting the same standard of something like Final Fantasy XIII would still be good. Even the AI upscales of the CG cutscenes posted on YouTube look great. And while they're rebuilding the game, they can also fix the mediocre localization. It's not the worst I've ever seen, but it's not the quality of work I would expect from a company like Sony. The dialogue is understandable, but sometimes it did sound awkward and unnatural. But will this remake ever happen? I know I'm not the only one who hopes so, but let's be realistic. The game's appeal is pretty niche. Looking at the store, it shows only 8,100 people rating the re-release, Whereas Sony's more well-known exclusives like The Last of Us Remastered has over 400,000 reviews. Remaking it won't give Sony the big bucks they're after. But for fans like myself, a remake would be a dream worth marking the calendar for. So what do you think? Does The Legend of Dragoon deserve a remake, and would you buy it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more JRPG discussions, reviews, and retrospectives. With that said, keep grinding, keep exploring, and I'll see you on the next journey.